Created the characters in the famous California Raisins, these guys, the ad campaign. Vinton was born in McMinnville, spent much of his life in the Northwest. He founded the Portland Creative Conference. He also built the Will Vinton Studio before Nike founder Phil Knight became the majority shareholder in 2002. The Portland Film Festival honored him with a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015. In a statement today, his family said, he instilled in us the greatest values of creativity, strength, and pride in one's own work. He created stories and characters filled with laughter, music, and powerful lessons that are globally beloved. He brightened any room with his signature mustache, and he continued to make jokes and laugh until the very end. There will be a celebration of life on October 21st at the No Vacancy Lounge on Southwest 1st in Portland. Back to you.